Travis Wingate. So the key to winning against the biggest Goliath this world has ever known, I found in the movie First Night with Richard Gere and Sean Connery. That's where Richard Gere at the beginning is challenging townsfolk to a sword duel in order to earn his keep. And one guy wanted to know how to do it, how to become a great swordsman. And Richard Gere rambles off a bunch of stuff and then says, you've got to be willing to die. And that's the secret. When I gave that book, and it wasn't in that form, that's the Create space for Amazon, which is now obsolete. And they've got KDP now. When I gave that book as my lawsuit, because Judges Kimball and Benson did a tag team on me to deny me filing a lawsuit ever again. And so I did it in this form. And I gave it to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at the administration building. They made a mistake and put church office building. Or maybe they didn't make a mistake, because they wanted it to be something else, so that people wouldn't suspect that it had something to do with the brethren of the church. And the state capitol, which is where the governor's office is, and the Utah Attorney General, which, according to Utah law, you file lawsuits with his office or file complaints with his office for him to investigate. And I gave one to the Matheson Courthouse, where you're supposed to file lawsuits. And I also gave one to the federal courthouse, but the feds wanted nothing to do with it. However, the FBI, being buddies with Mark Shurtleff, they opened a case, just in case. So you can go on to mugshots.com and you can see the FBI file number. I submitted that book expecting never to be seen again. I knew they were going to kidnap me and lock me away forever. Disappeared. I had to be willing to die. What's in the book? Doesn't matter. It was a commentary on the Constitution, titled after or inspired by Thomas More's Utopia, thus Modern American Utopia. And I never expected to get out. But many people want to give blind credit to their God for everything that they do in life. And they don't understand that it's inspiration. As to why we do what we do. And when the outcome is good, we can call it from God. When the outcome is bad, it doesn't work, then we can call it from some other source. Alma chapter 3 goes over how people curse themselves. It's not God that curses people, as is a common misconception in life. Why bad things happen to good people, etc. You gotta know the difference between something bad and versus natural disasters, accidents, things that aren't really bad in the sense of evil, more of unfortunate mortal conditions. But in giving this book, it also became the downfall, because I knew they weren't going to help me. That was clear and obvious long before. But the extremes that they went to, that surprised me. 3 counts of terrorist threat. The book they considered a weapon of mass destruction, because that's how the law was written. That's how Mark Shurtleff submitted it. He put in weapon of mass destruction. That was in the law for terrorist threat. And so, what is the weapon of mass destruction? The only thing that was the cause was the book. The book is a weapon of mass destruction according to the state of Utah. And I never expected that the church would submit my troublemaker file. That I even had one. And that they started it because I was a translator. That I came to them with my Paleo-Hebrew decipherment, and they thought I was a troublemaker. But then they submitted that as evidence against me as a terrorist threat. And I wasn't counting on them paying the person who had me disappeared. Well, good old Nancy. But yeah, they didn't expect me to get out. That's why they were so brazen. They sealed the case so that the public couldn't find out about it through the Freedom of Information Act. They erased my comments from the Deseret News so that nobody would ever remember me, except that they forgot to delete the people who replied to 2 of my comments. That's how I knew that I was deleted. And I didn't find out until I got out and was checking. But yeah, I couldn't believe that they would be that brazen. Because what they did to me became the evidence in my current case against the church. The church just handed me the victory with what they did to me in 2008. They gave up the church with what they did to me. And so, as I learned more about church history, as I studied it finally, I was able to put all the pieces together and explain why. Why are they doing this today? And it's clear. Bad fruit. And so, that book, doesn't matter what's inside of it, but it has become a symbol now. The symbol of the destruction of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Their lawyers have counseled them about my lawsuit, as I was able to submit it finally, because the judges were protecting the church, committing crimes and violations as federal judges to protect the church. But I found Rule 4, section or subsection D, or whatever it's called, the waiver of summons. The clerks told me I couldn't deliver it to them myself. They were wrong about that. And the clerks also interfered. They screw up the docket so that at noon you can't see what has been submitted. You have to wait until 12:01 in the morning. So, yeah. My revelation, as we'll call it, my inspiration, my smarts, my intelligence, took down the biggest corporate, corrupt organization this world has ever known. Estimates, because of the $100 billion in tithing fraud, indicate that the church is probably worth over $1 trillion. Because it only takes 10 100 billions to make $1 trillion. And Ensign Peak Associates has 140 billion with just them alone. So, if they flee the country and take their trillions with them, abandon Mormons, I hope you Mormons understand why. That symbol. And I did a commentary on the Constitution specifically, because I was born and raised in the Mormon Church. I knew about the prophecy of Joseph Smith, that in the last days the Constitution would need to be saved by the kingmen, who want to establish a king on the throne of America and do away with a constitutional republic. And I'd already recognized we weren't following the Constitution one iota. And yes, I also put in an economic prophecy of doom, which just within a few weeks after I was arrested, worldwide economic collapse. And so with this one, I put in there of the danger for the coup d'etat, which when the Senate acquitted Trump was official. The coup d'etat was complete. Putin put him in. The GOP Senate made it official. Senate just handed over the keys of the government to Trump. And now the Democrats are in denial and thinking they're going to get a candidate who's going to dominate and beat Trump. The election's already rigged, guys. They keep forgetting that. So, but at least somebody was able to take down the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so, yes, if, as it should be, I get the request for relief, whether it be handing over the keys of the church or just the depositing of all the assets into an account for me. I'd have to work quick because we're in emergency situation mode. Red alert, DEFCON 1 or 4 or whatever's highest. Because the world is suffering and dying. And the Mormons failed to build the cities of Zion and Jerusalem that I talked about from Joseph Smith's 1840 talk. Joseph Smith had planned to be prepared. But he was murdered, and Brigham Young, bad fruit. And so Mormons keep talking about one day the church leaders will say, hey, we're going to build Zion. They waited in vain. The signs in the heavens all occurred. America had been cooed as the Constitution's final thread was severed. And Mormons continue to believe the church is true. And so those of you who are critics of the church, who were Mormon and left the church, or have been Christian and condemn the church for not being Christian, that might come as a shock to you. But I've been trying to tell you about church history, the real church history. The threat to put a king on the throne of America was instantaneous once our founding fathers declared independence. With the Declaration of Independence, the war began, and it hasn't stopped. So I'm going to go to bed early because I'm going to lose an hour of sleep tonight because it's daylight savings tomorrow. Spring forward. And then we have Purim Monday night with the supermoon, and I've already done those videos for you. So brethren, adieu.